The day Elias died, he told me to go wait by the cliff's edge. Your bride is going to fall right out of the sky, he'd wheezed. It's a gift from the Almighty, just for you. I looked down at the ethereal beauty lying in the dirt, her ether core, the source of her magic, ripped clean out of her. I knew who she was. The patients who came to our secluded valley often gossiped. She was Seraphina Vance, the prodigy of Apex Sanctuary. Born with a perfect core, a wizarding genius. I dug a hole in the earth and buried Elias. I placed a bottle of his favorite honey bourbon on top of the mound. The old man loved the bottle more than life itself. I figured he wouldn't want to be sober in the afterlife. After tipping my hat and standing in silence for a long moment, I turned and headed for the cliff he'd pointed out. Your bride is going to fall right out of the sky. It's a gift. His trembling hand had patted my head, leaving those words as his legacy. At noon, I looked up. The sky was clear blue. Not even a feather drifted down. Sprout hopped around impatiently next to me. Is she coming or not? We've been waiting for hours. I frowned at the little creature. Elias never lied. Wait a bit longer. I've been raised by Elias since I was a baby, never leaving Hollow. I took his word as gospel. Even though he looked like a regular old hillbilly, his skills were terrifying. He was the real deal. Phoenix. The palm-sized green sprite pouted, boredly tugging at the leaves growing out of his own head. The sun climbed higher. Just as I was about to give up hope, a black dot appeared high above, drifting downward. The wind caught her dress, making her look like a butterfly with a broken wing. Sprout finally got excited. Here she comes. Here she comes. I stepped forward and caught her. Her white dress was stained with blood. Her entire back was nearly shredded, the brutal result of having her core surgically extracted while alive. But miraculously, she was breathing. I sighed, resigned to my fate, and carried her back into the hollow. On the third day of her coma, Seraphina woke up. Her face was pale as she looked at Sprout, who was currently lying on her cheek. Who are you? In terms you duelists use, think of him as my familiar, I explained. She noticed me standing in the room then. I was at the stone table, grinding herbs for her pain. And you are? Her voice was soft, like it might blow away in the wind. I dumped the powder into the broth I'd been brewing and handed it to her. Nobody worth mentioning. She shook her head slightly, offering a weak smile. You're too modest. Someone capable of saving me is hardly a nobody. The medicine was bitter. She frowned but down in one gulp. I nodded approvingly. At least she wasn't delicate. Her injuries were severe. She drank the medicinal broth 3 times a day like it was food. Once she could walk, she had to soak in herbal baths too. After living together for a while, she grew comfortable enough to ask questions. Are you here alone? I paused, a flash of nostalgia hitting me. There was my mentor, Elias. Why don't I see him? He passed on, I said quietly. She pursed her lips, looking guilty. I'm sorry. I shook my head to say it was fine. I was curious about her too. I'd heard the patients Elias brought home talking about her. Seraphina Vance of Apex Sanctuary, a natural-born talent. She'd braved the Shadow Realm solo at a young age and took first place in the grand tournament. She had a limitless future. How did she end up like this? Seraphina said the story was cliché. A naive, sweet junior girl joined their order. Everyone loved her. The only problem was she lacked the talent to channel magic. Her physiology just happened to be a perfect match for Seraphina's core. So, the senior brothers who had a crush on the new girl decided to help her out by carving Seraphina up. She spoke calmly, but I could imagine the horror of it. I asked, don't you hate them? She gave a bitter laugh. How could I not? I wish I could take them all down with me. But I survived, so I have to cherish this life. She summoned her weapon. She stroked the sword with regret. It's a pity for Crimson, stuck living with a cripple like me now. Crimson was a sentient artifact she'd found in the Shadow Realm. The sword gently tapped its owner's arm, as if comforting her. Seraphina patted the blade in response, then looked at Sprout. I've never seen a familiar that can take humanoid form. Sprout, who was playing with a flower nearby, heard his name and hopped over, shoving the flower into her hand. Make a wreath. It was a game she played with him when she was bedridden. He loved it. After all, he was just a sentient weed. I rubbed my forehead. Maybe because I'm a healer. Looking at her serious profile, I suddenly spoke. Do you still want to practice magic? Her eyes lit up with hope. Is there a way? I nodded. There is. There's a specific type of timber in the valley. Once extracted, it can be crafted into a synthetic core. With that, you can channel magic. It'll never be as good as your own, though. You might be stuck at the entry level forever. Even so, Seraphina was desperate for it. She said she'd been cultivating magic since she could remember. She didn't know how to be anything else. Even if she was mediocre, as long as she could practice, it was enough. She looked at me with amusement. I heard the drunken master had incredible medical skills. Only he could repair a shattered spirit network. I never imagined he'd be so young. And you called yourself a nobody. You're too humble. I felt a bead of sweat. That was Elias. Though it was a synthetic replacement, the pain would be real. My brain, unhelpfully, thought, at least the wound on her back hasn't fully healed yet, so I don't have to cut fresh skin. Since learning she could regain her magic, Serafina shed her depression. Even if she couldn't walk far, she'd sit on the stone bench swinging her sword. Every morning, I'd see her training under the trees. But sometimes, she couldn't hide the regret. The original core was better. The prodigy was finally experiencing the frustration of mediocrity. I turned and shouldered my woven basket, giving her instructions. I'm leaving the hollow for 2 weeks. Rest up. The valley was stocked with supplies. I wasn't worried about her. Sprout was confused. Where are we going? Serafina's right. The original is better. We're going to get it back. Sprout frowned, looking at my hands. Then why are you scattering paralytic powder everywhere? My hands froze, and I answered a bit frantically. To keep out intruders. Sprout circled me, arms crossed. Are you afraid of someone getting in? Or someone getting out? I didn't answer, just kept dusting the perimeter. But in my heart, I knew. If she wanted to run, she wouldn't make it far in her condition anyway. I hiked down a mountain, asked for directions, and headed straight for Apex Sanctuary. The whole way, I worried about how to get close to them. Conveniently, I ran into the manager of the network, an information broker whose arm Elias had saved once. He recognized me immediately. Doc, where you headed? The manager was enthusiastic, so I used the opportunity. Do you know the Apex disciples? Julian Thorne, Brock Sterling, and Lily Summers? He didn't know them personally, but the network had eyes everywhere. No need to go to their sanctuary. Word is they're down in the Keys. There's a rare phenomenon in the South right now. Lots of couples going. Those two hotshots are spending a fortune on their girl. It's all over the gossip rags. I felt a surge of disgust. Those hypocrites carved the magic out of Serafina and didn't feel a shred of guilt. Just vacationing in Florida? Despicable. I clasped my hands in thanks. I have urgent business with them, but I don't know the way to the Keys. Can you help me out? The manager waved his hands. Doc, don't be polite. You saved my arm. We have a teleportation hub. Get you there in a blink. Follow me. He led me to a high-end transport array fueled by expensive crystals. I had no money to repay him, so I handed him a token. If you ever need medical help, find me. He beamed. Access to the hollow was legendary. People begged for it. After a dizzying flash, I arrived in the Keys. Pink sunsets, palm trees, and expensive cars. It was beautiful. Watching the couples walk by, I adjusted the ratty basket on my back, feeling out of place. I was looking for a cheap motel when I heard a girl's voice. Julian, Brock, hurry up. I turned. A girl in a pink dress was walking ahead, waving to 2 men behind her. The men were carrying bags of luxury goods, smiling at her dotingly. What's the rush? Your incision hasn't healed yet. Slow down, one said. They walked right past me, laughing. I twitched my finger, and Sprout turned into a streak of green light, attaching himself to the girl's back. The Keys had been chaotic lately. The 2 Apex heroes were looking for doctors everywhere. Heard every healer they found was useless. Must be a serious condition, people whispered. I quickly finished my bowl of noodles. It was showtime. I found their luxury hotel and told the concierge my purpose. He looked me up and down skeptically. Half-gray ragged shirt, broken basket. I didn't look credible. But desperate times meant he knocked on their door anyway. Sirs, a healer is here. Let him in. The concierge opened the door. The girl, Lily, was lying on the bed, quietly weeping. The 2 men were holding her hands, whispering comforts. Don't be scared, Lily. The pain will stop soon. A touching scene. Julian Thorne looked up at me, skepticism written on his face. Your medical skills are good? I nodded blankly. Decent. Julian started to speak, but Brock Sterling cut him off impatiently. Just let him look at her. He stepped aside. If you can fix her, name your price. I stepped forward, pretending to inspect her aura. Pain right where the core sits in the back. Lily nodded. I didn't bump it. It just suddenly started hurting so bad I can't stand. I smiled faintly. That's not your core, is it? Their faces went pale. Everyone knew the magical world wasn't full of saints, but stealing a core was taboo. Disgusting business. They usually didn't tell doctors the truth. They didn't expect me to call it out immediately. I pretended not to notice their panic and kept my tone casual. The core hasn't integrated. Rejection pain is normal. If she can tolerate it, it might settle down in a few months. Seeing how unbothered I was, they relaxed. Julian asked, how long until it heals? I gave a vague answer. Hard to say. Maybe days, maybe months, maybe a year. Brock panicked. She can't suffer that long. Do you have a faster way? I suppressed a smirk. Hook, line, and sinker. I pretended to be in deep thought, looking troubled. Julian got anxious. Is there a problem, doctor? I frowned. Everyone knows how valuable a core is. Treating this. It's expensive. I rattled off the names of some convoluted, rare magical herbs to confuse them. These are century-old ingredients. To just give them away. They understood. Julian and Brock handed over their dimensional storage bags. Master Healer, there are hundreds of high-grade crystals in here. Millions in cash. Plus artifacts we've found. It might not match your rare herbs, but it covers the fee, right? I was stunned. They really were throwing fortunes away for her. Of course, the rare herbs I mentioned grew like weeds in my valley. I frowned again, acting reluctant, until they looked ready to kill or cry. Then I sighed, pretending to be moved by their love. Fina, you two are so devoted. I'll be the good guy this once. But don't tell anyone. If everyone comes to me for core grafts, I'll run out of stock. Julian smiled. Don't worry, master. Using the excuse that my technique was a trade secret, I kicked the men out. Lily looked at me with teary doe eyes. I'm scared of pain. Please be gentle. I gave a fake smile and nodded, then hit her with a heavy-duty magical anesthesia. I cut open her back. Her body twitched reflexively, but she didn't wake. A green vine was already pulsating over the stolen core. I held out my hand. Come back. Sprout instantly morphed into his humanoid form and hopped into my palm, stomping his feet. What took you so long? Had to give them time to get desperate enough to trust a hobo, I whispered. I removed the core. Blood pooled, but Sprout extended vines and absorbed it all instantly. I stitched the wound neatly with gut thread and applied a potent rapid healing balm. Within an hour, her back looked flawless, like nothing had happened. Lily woke up groggy, saying she felt much better, light as a feather. She could even walk. Julian and Brock were overjoyed, bowing to me in thanks. Before they could ask my name, I grabbed my basket and bolted. After all, the cure was just a temporary cosmetic fix. I couldn't be there when they realized she had zero magic left. The network manager sent me back home. I bought a nice dress from him before I left. Friend price, $800. That was enough to buy me noodles for a lifetime. No wonder Elias never married. Keeping a wife was expensive. I rushed back to the hollow. Serafina was sitting among the flowers, smiling at me. You're back. I nodded heavily. Yeah, I got your core back. She looked worried about me, but I didn't explain the details. I just prepped her for surgery. I had to cut into the newly healed pink skin on her back. She trembled in agony. For a cultivator of her level, anesthesia didn't work well. All I could do was make the incision clean. The butchers who took it out had left jagged scars. Serafina lay on her stomach, reaching a shaking hand toward me. Silas, it hurts. Her sword, crimson, hovered anxiously near me. Sprout was already lying by her face, crying buckets of tears. I kept my face cold. Endure it. But I leaned down and channeled my own energy into her back to soothe the nerves. Serafina wrapped her arms around my neck and sobbed. It was a long night. With the core restored, her power returned. She recovered fast. In the blink of an eye, she was the breathtaking Serafina of Vance again. Gone was the pale invalid in plain clothes. She wore the expensive dress I bought, silver ornaments in her hair, her sword floating behind her. She smiled, radiant. Do I look good? I touched my nose awkwardly and looked away. My heart felt like a feather had brushed it, soft and itchy. When the autumn winds arrived, Serafina came to say goodbye. My face fell. My voice dripped with a sourness I didn't know I had. What? You want to go back to your brothers? Not afraid they'll skin you again. Serafina put a piece of sweet and sour rib in my bowl and tilted her head. No, but I'm still a disciple of Apex Sanctuary, and my brothers harmed a fellow disciple. There has to be a reckoning. She said the headmaster and elders had always been kind to her. They were probably worried sick looking for her. Watching her naive expression, I had different thoughts. I didn't get out much, but I knew people. My patients were often victims of their own families. The star pupil vanishes. Her attackers go on vacation. Did the elders really not know? Serafina patted my head. Stay here and be good. Last time I waited for you. This time, you wait for me. Watching her walk away, I pouted. I dug out the rusty iron sword Elias left me. I quietly followed her. I wasn't stalking. She was going to Apex. I was going to Apex. Same direction. I bought a mule and rode it slowly. But fate has a sense of humor. I ran smack into Julian, Brock, and Lily on the road. Brock's eyes turned red with hate. Scammer, we've been looking for you. I cover my face with my sleeve. Don't accuse innocent people. We've never met. Brock spat. Shut up. Give back my sister's core. He raised his sword to strike. I rolled on the ground, making my gray clothes even grayer. I frantically unwrapped the iron sword. Elias said it was an ancient artifact, only to be used in life-or-death situations. I figured this was it. I raised it high, and Brock's blade sheared the tip right off. Clang! The broken metal hit the dirt. I froze. That's it. Before I could mourn the artifact, Brock's second strike came down. I closed my eyes, but the pain never hit. A white light flashed. A sword hovered in the air, blocking the strike. Julian gasped. Crimson. The air shimmered, and a figure materialized next to the sword. Seraphina stood in front of me. Brothers. Long time no see. Brock stepped back. Seraphina? You ordered this scammer to steal the core. Lily clutched Julian's sleeve, hiding behind him. The tension was high, but I had to fight not to laugh. Seraphina came to save me. She was pointing her sword at her beloved brothers for me. I hooked my finger on the hem of her dress, twisting shyly. Oh my, how embarrassing. This enraged Brock. Seraphina, look at that pathetic loser. Seraphina turned to look at me. I instantly pursed my lips and furrowed my brow. What's wrong? She asked. I touched my temple, sounding weak. I feel a bit faint. I swayed and collapsed softly onto her shoulder. Brock swore. Shameless. I'll kill you. Before he could charge, Seraphina moved crimson to his throat. A thin line of blood appeared. Brock touched his neck, looking betrayed. You'd kill me. For him. Julian glared at me like he wanted to eat me alive. Seraphina remained unmoved, her face like ice. I peeked at them. These people were hilarious, crying about betrayal while ignoring the fact they'd butchered her first. I nuzzled Seraphina's shoulder, pretending to be terrified. I mumbled, so scary. My voice was quiet, but loud enough for everyone to hear. Seraphina reached up and touched my ear, whispering, don't be afraid. It's okay. Then, she scooped me up in a bridal carry and walked into the inn behind us. I panicked for a second, reflexively wrapping my arm around her shoulders. Just as I was thinking a grown man being carried like this was inappropriate, I saw the fire in Julian and Brock's eyes. I immediately crinkled my eyes in a smile at them, then rested half my face on Seraphina's shoulder. Furious, they stomped in after us. Upstairs, Seraphina placed me gently on the bed. Rest a bit. I'll be right back. I nodded with a smile. As soon as the door closed, I sprinted to it, pressing my ear against the wood. Seraphina, don't be fooled by that man, Brock was yelling. He stole the core right from under our noses in broad daylight. He's dangerous. Seraphina let out a cold laugh. Wasn't stealing. It was returning property to its owner. Brock stomped his foot. Julian spoke up, his voice deep. Are you still blaming us? I know we made a mistake, but we never meant to harm you. If you hadn't fought back so hard, you wouldn't have fallen off the cliff. We actually hired the drunken master to heal you. We knew you'd be fine. The audacity. Elias was dead. Who did they hire? A ghost. I shook my head in disgust and leaned closer. Julian continued. You've always been the golden child. You don't understand Lily's pain. She can't use magic. People mock her. She cries in secret. How can I stand by? You've always taken care of us. Surely you won't hold a grudge over this. I wanted to kick the door down and kick him in the teeth. Seraphina laughed, but it sounded angry. I always thought you were smart, Julian. Turns out you're just a snake. Don't try to guilt-trip me. You mutilated a fellow disciple. I'm reporting this to the headmaster. Brock punched a table. We wronged you, fine, but you got the core back. I think you're bewitched by that man. You don't care about our bond anymore. They stormed off. Seraphina opened the door and walked toward me. I scrambled back to the bed, folding my hands over my stomach, pretending to sleep. But I forgot Sprout, the little troublemaker. He was standing behind the door, grinning at her. Her footsteps approached the bed. I squeezed my eyes shut, my eyeballs darting around under the lids. She sat on the edge. I expected her to wake me, but she said nothing. I got nervous. How do I wake up naturally? Then she snorted with laughter. How long are you going to fake it? My body went stiff. I opened my eyes. Sprout was standing in her palm, wobbling around. He, my ass. I glared at him, then looked at Seraphina with a fawning smile. Rested a bit. Feel much better. She had a smile on her lips, like she saw right through me. What are you worried about? If you don't like them, just say so. I pouted, mumbling, who am I to say? What right do I have to boss you around? She leaned down, forcing me to shrink back into the pillows. Aren't you my husband? Boom. My brain exploded. You. How did you know? She glanced sideways. Sprout guiltily turned his head, grabbed 2 leaves from his head, and stuffed them in his ears. Traitor. Seraphina lifted my chin, staring into my eyes dangerously. What? You don't want to be? My eyes darted around. My tongue tied itself in a knot. Not a word came out. How do I explain? I really want you to be my wife. I just don't know if you want to be. You're the future of the magical world. I'm just a quack doctor. I have nothing but a valley. I mean, I can afford you. I charge a lot for house calls. But maybe you like someone else. I'm not the type to demand repayment with marriage. This is annoying. Serafina's smile widened. She tapped my lips with her finger. Stop overthinking. Then, she kissed me. She has to take responsibility for me now. In the middle of the night, a soft knock came. Lily stood outside alone, nervously looking around. What is it? Serafina asked. She couldn't be nice to the girl who stole her life force. Lily spoke fast and quiet. Serafina, I know you don't believe me, but I'm warning you, do not go back. When Serafina didn't react, Lily looked sad. She bowed quickly. I am sorry. Then she ran away. Serafina stood there for a while before coming back to ask me, what do you think she meant? She said she didn't know Lily well. The girl was shy, quiet. Serafina found it hard to believe she was truly malicious. I couldn't judge the girl's soul, but I had diagnosed her body. Her constitution is unique. She's a living battery. Serafina was shocked. You mean they? I nodded. 90% chance. All that deep love? Just a cover. She was a resource to be harvested. I looked at her with concern. Still going back. Serafina thought for a long time, then nodded. I have to verify it. That's the home I grew up in. I can't doubt them based on one sentence. But if it's true, I can't allow that kind of evil to exist there. I smiled, resigned but understanding. My wife was a good person. We set off the next day. Abandoning my mule, Serafina took me flying on her sword. We reached Apex Sanctuary quickly. Disciples greeted her enthusiastically. Senior sister, you're back. Where have you been? Who is this? Serafina nodded politely to everyone. Very professional. I strutted behind her, craning my neck like a rooster. I'm her husband. Husband. They didn't believe it, looking to Serafina. She turned, a bit embarrassed, but didn't deny it. Yes, my husband. I put my hands on her shoulders and followed her, shuffling my feet happily. Sprout bounced on my head. My good mood died when someone blocked me at the main gate. Restricted area. Une autorise de personnel strictly prohibited. I stared blankly at the young gatekeeper, pulling a long face. Who's unauthorized? I'm her husband. Husband. The boy smiled politely. Still no. I was placed in a guest room while Serafina went to find the headmaster alone. I played with Sprout for an hour, but she didn't return. Something was wrong. I opened the door and asked the disciple, are they still talking? Don't know. I couldn't wait. I'm going to check. He blocked me again. Headmaster's orders. No wounding. I was furious. These people didn't speak human. Unauthorized person? Irrelevant person? Who were they talking to? I waved my sleeve. He dropped to the ground, unconscious. With the annoyance gone, I headed for the headmaster's quarters. But the silence was unnerving. I saw 2 guards at the door ahead. They'd definitely stop me. I glanced at Sprout. He nodded and turned into a streak of light. A second later, both guards dropped. I opened the door. Empty. Impossible. I saw them enter. I scanned the room. Sprout, search. Sprout extended countless vines into the cracks in the floor. Seconds later, he hopped onto a bookshelf. Here. I grabbed my broken sword and a lighter, following the hidden stairs down. A long tunnel opened into a large underground chamber. I heard voices. Serafina, don't be stubborn. Even without a core, there's a place for you here. I can give you a way out. The headmaster, Julian, and Brock were standing there. Lily was unconscious on the floor. Serafina was kneeling, covered in blood. Crimson, her sword, stood defiantly in front of her. Serafina tried to wipe blood from her mouth, but couldn't move. Save it. As long as I breathe, I won't let you run this slaughterhouse. Brock scratched his head, annoyed. Serafina, stop being difficult. You're talented. You don't know how hard it is for us. We finally found a perfect battery in Lily. Just let us have this. When we ascend to higher realms, we'll be your shield. No one will look down on you. I roll my eyes so hard it hurt. Nice calculation. Power for them, glory for them, and a broken body for her. Lily was a special vessel, but she had no magic. If she had a core, she could cultivate energy they would then drain from her through animate means. Repeatedly. It was a fate worse than death. I stepped out of the shadows. My broken sword scraped against the stone floor, making a screeching sound. They spun around. Ooh! I glared at them. Serafina looked surprised, then happy. You came. I kept my eyelids heavy, voice sarcastic. If I didn't, I'd be collecting your corpse. Silly woman. I told her not to come. Now look. Broken meridians again. I walked up to her and pointed my broken sword at the old bald guy. This the headmaster who treated you so well. Serafina laughed bitterly, resting her head against my back. I was wrong. You can't know a person's heart. Next time, I'll listen to you. The bald headmaster stroked his white beard pretentiously. Ignorant child. Julian drew his sword and charged. You want to die? Fine. Julian was indeed a prodigy. The strike was powerful. Pity for him, my master's sword was better. One swing. His head separated from his body. Blood splattered my robe. I frowned. Good thing I brought a spare. Brock's eyes went wide. Impossible. That's just a piece of scrap metal. The headmaster finally looked at me seriously. What are you? I didn't explain. I lunged, swinging at the old man's face. The headmaster wasn't a pushover. He blocked it and pulled out a magical artifact. Brock tried to ambush me from behind. Sprout's vines shot out, wrapping him up like a cocoon. Thorns dug into his skin. In moments, Brock was a wither husk. The headmaster's lips trembled. You're a nature spirit. Ancient texts say nature spirits are born of the earth, possessing unfathomable power. Pure, but easily turned to evil. I frowned deeper. These people were so rude. First I'm unauthorized, then an ignorant child. Now I'm not even human. I killed him with one strike. The old bald guy was annoying. He bled more than the others. Serafina had passed out, thankfully missing the sight of me covered in gore. Sprout, being helpful, absorbed the mess. I picked Serafina up. Sprout struggled to drag Lily out with his vines, straining his tiny body. Hey, help me. I shrugged. Full hands. He cursed me the whole way back. At the foot of the mountain, I dropped Lily off at a nearby town. Being a normal human was the best ending for her. Then, I hauled my troublesome wife back to the hollow. Night fell. Moonlight washed over the valley. Serafina was in a medicinal bath, sweating profusely. Husband, it hurts. I was suspicious. More than getting a core grafted, I'd adjusted the herbs. It shouldn't hurt that bad. Serafina opened misty eyes and leaned against the edge of the tub, her voice uncharacteristically sweet. It's different. I have a husband now. I don't have to bear the pain alone. Boom. I felt like a shrimp in a steamer. Cooked through. She wrapped her arms around my neck, whispering softly. Husband. Seriously. I tossed the ladle aside and pulled her into my arms. Yeah. Husband's here. Story complete.